Every new NBA season comes with players who break out of their shell and start to become the star players that they are destined to be. With so much young talent in today's NBA, you could argue that almost every team in the league has a player who is waiting for that golden opportunity to show their true potential for stardom. Unfortunately, not every player gets put in that perfect situation for them to show what they're made of, but I found 5 players who are destined for breakout seasons this year, and the first player we have to talk about is Tyrese Maxiell. Tyrese Maxiell had some weird ups and downs with former coach Doc Rivers as he decided to inexplicably bench him for 17 games in January this past season, as well as missing time in late 2022 due to an injury. But in all, he turned in a really great third season. Maxiell has already improved a ton year to year as an NBA player, as he turned himself into one of the NBA's best three-point shooters. As a draft prospect, three-point shooting wasn't even listed as a weapon in Maxiell's arsenal. On the season, Maxiell shot 43.4% from 3 on just over 6 attempts per game. Amongst all players in the NBA that have shot 100 threes or more in the 2023 regular season, Maxiell's three-point percentage ranks 5th of 121 qualifying players. Of those in the top 5, Maxiell is the only one to attempt 6 threes a game. What we knew already about Maxiell was how fast he is, how creative and elite his finishing is around the rim, and how hard he works on his game. After playing with James Harden for about a year and a half, Maxiell learned a lot from him. Regardless of your opinions on James Harden, he is one of the best guards the game has ever seen and was a great mentor for Maxiell. With James almost certainly departing from Philadelphia at some point this offseason, this means that a huge role is going to open up for Maxiell in the next season for the Sixers. With how much Tyrese has shown he's willing to work hard and improve his game, as well as the new coach Nick Nurse singing Maxiell's praises as soon as he got on board, I think a big year is in store for Tyrese. The second player we have to talk about is Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is one of the NBA's most intriguing stories. An undrafted free agent from the middle of nowhere in Arkansas, a kid who declined opportunities to be selected in the second round of his draft class to bet on himself, has turned himself into one of the most efficient and effective offensive weapons in the league. Austin had moments over the last couple of seasons, but really burst onto the scene in March of the 2023 season. Over Austin's final 20 games of the season, he averaged a little over 18 points a game, 5.6 assists, and just over 3 rebounds a game on some insane efficiency. It got to the point where he was playing way too good to be coming off the bench, and he was officially inserted into the starting lineup on March 22nd against the Phoenix Suns, and he would stay in the starting 5 from that point until the end of the season and then into the playoffs. In those 11 games that Reeves started at the end of the year, the Lakers went 9-2, which was crucial for their playoff chances down the stretch of the regular season. He would then go on to perform extremely well in the playoffs, starting all 16 games, 17 points, 4.6 assists, and 4.4 rebounds on, once again, some really efficient shooting. Austin really doesn't have a lot of weaknesses in his game on offense. He's really good at getting to the free throw line, he doesn't take a lot of bad shots, he's good at finishing at the rim, and can score at all 3 levels. Not only that, but he is like connective tissue when it comes to playmaking when playing alongside Anthony Davis and LeBron James. With a full season as a starter coming up, as well as fully gaining the trust from the other starters and the coaching staff, I imagine Reeves will have a big green light next season. With LeBron and AD likely to miss games sporadically over the course of the season due to rest and random injuries, there will be some nights where Reeves is the guy for the Lakers, and I think he can handle it. The third player we have to talk about today is Franz Wagner. Franz is one of the NBA's most slept-on young players. The 6'9" German will be turning 22 heading into his third season after having an excellent sophomore season. For a second-year player, Franz doesn't really have many holes in his game on either side of the floor. Franz can handle the ball well, can score at all 3 levels, and can pass pretty well too. He's athletic and strong enough to finish above and around the rim through traffic, while also being able to use the proper footwork and use his agility to move through traffic unabated. On defense, he has great hands that allows him to pick pockets and protect the rim in one-on-one situations, as well as having the length and the strength to bother and keep up with guys on the defensive side of the floor. Defense is a work in progress for many players in today's league, but it's safe to say that Franz is already really solid on that end too. He needs to work on his help and his team defense, but that will come with time and repetition. It feels like he's a man of many skills but a master of none, but the caveat is that he's going to be 22 years old. Typically you say that about players late into their career who didn't reach their maximum potential, but being so young with such a strong foundation makes me believe that Franz can be one of the best guys this league has to offer in a couple of years. With a relatively healthy season for the Magic last year, they won 34 games led by Franz and the Rookie of the Year, Paolo Banchero. With all of those reps under their belt, heading into the next season with the same core group, I could definitely see Orlando making some noise in the play-in tournament next season, winning close to 40 games. The only thing I worry about for Franz is Orlando really trying to figure out what his role is going to be long term. Most of Orlando's talent is better with the ball in their hands, which at times will put Franz off the ball. It's great that Franz can play on or off the ball, but in my opinion, he's simply just too good to not have the ball in his hands. The fourth player we need to talk about today is Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole certainly has ended up in a very interesting situation, to be charitable. The one-time champion with the Golden State Warriors had a very up and down season last year, perhaps a year that was over before it even started thanks to his best friend Draymond Green. After a really bad playoff performance from Poole, littered with poor shot selection, he finds himself in Washington in a swap for Chris Paul. I really struggle to imagine what it's going to be like for Chris Paul in Golden State, but Jordan Poole's role in Washington is clear as day. Washington will be a blank canvas for Jordan Poole, as I imagine he will find himself with a huge green light, which I think will be great for him. As far as roster construction is concerned for the Wizards, the starting five in this upcoming season will be a much more classic style lineup than it was the year prior. The Wizards now have a true floor general type of point guard in Tyus Jones, a rim running center in Daniel Gafford, a scoring hybrid power forward in Kyle Kuzma, and an interesting young player at the 3 in Denny Avdia, who in theory can do a little bit of everything. This will allow Poole to do what he does best, and that's score the basketball. I think a more structured, classic offense will be much better for Poole's game, as opposed to the chaotic, improvised motion offense that Golden State likes to run. Poole had a bad playoff run, but he was genuinely awesome in the championship run for them in 2022. I think this was a great acquisition for Washington as they head into a bit of a rebuilding phase. Although Poole is on a big money, long-term deal, I think Poole was the perfect buy low candidate for a team this offseason. With zero expectations in Washington, as long as Poole buys in, I think he will thrive as a Wizard. And the final player we need to talk about today is Trey Murphy III. Trey Murphy is another young player with a play style that I absolutely love and a game that almost any team would kill to have on their roster. Trey is a 6'9" forward who is an absolute sniper. One of the game's best shooters already after 2 seasons. 40.6% from 3 on over 6 attempts per game in just 31 minutes. Trey has already taken a massive leap from year 1 to year 2, but I believe he has a big year 3 in store and could put himself on the map as one of the best young guys this league has to offer. Not only is Trey a marksman, but he's a jump out of the gym type of athlete, and he got to display that athleticism in the 2023 NBA dunk contest. The best part about his athletic ability is that it's very real and accessible in a live game setting, as opposed to just being a cool dunker on the open floor. Trey does a great job of attacking closeouts and moving off of the ball to use his athletic abilities to his best advantage. Trey shoots a staggering 75.9% within 3 feet of the rim, which is a great complementary skill to have with his elite shooting. As far as I'm concerned, Trey Murphy is already the perfect role player for any team in the NBA. If you take a look at his shot diet, it's a lot of threes and it's a lot of shots at the rim, and he's elite at converting both of those shots. And really the best part about him is that he doesn't need to develop much more than what he already has now. He's already a pretty solid defender with much more potential to fill out, given his athletic ability and a 7-foot wingspan with some good foot speed. He's already elite at shooting, elite at the rim. He just needs more opportunity and more shots. With a fully healthy Zion and Ingram playing alongside Trey, There will be endless opportunities as both of these guys will draw double teams, which will allow Trey to shine. If I was coaching Trey Murphy this season, I would be looking for him to shoot 10 plus threes a game. There is no reason why he shouldn't be getting those shots up if he's getting starter minutes next season. The only potential issue is that Trey is a part of a loaded front court. He started a sizable amount of games for the Pelicans last year, but that also comes with the fact that Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson both missed a lot of games. I'm not exactly sure how the lineup's going to shake out for the Pelicans next year, but there's no reason for Trey to not be starting. With so much young talent in the NBA right now, that means there's a lot of up-and-coming young teams that could be taking over in the next couple of seasons. One of those teams is the San Antonio Spurs. They're loaded with young talent, have one of the best coaches in the league, and arguably one of the best-run franchises in all of basketball. With all the old heads on their way out, there's a good chance that the Spurs could be the NBA's next dynasty.